Hi everyone, welcome to our channel where we tell you all about crystals and gemstones. Today's question is, what is amber crystal? To understand what amber is, we need to go back to basics. What is a crystal? Crystals are solids with an ordered atomic structure. In other words, their atoms are arranged in a particular geometric pattern that is repeated over and over again. And it's this ordered structure that gives crystals their unique physical properties, such as their shape, hardness, and cleavage. But there's another type of solid whose atoms aren't arranged in an ordered structure like crystals. These are called amorphous solids. Instead, their atoms are arranged randomly. Glass, for example, is an amorphous solid. It doesn't have a defined crystal structure, and its atoms are arranged randomly. Now here's the thing. Amber is also an amorphous solid. Its atoms are also arranged randomly. So technically speaking, amber is not a crystal. You can also call it a fossilized tree resin. It's formed when the resin of certain trees, usually pine trees, is exposed to air and sunlight. Over time, the resin undergoes a series of complex chemical reactions that cause it to harden and eventually turn into amber. Amber is often found in areas where there are, or were, large deposits of pine trees. The Baltic region, for example, is famous for its amber because during the Eocene epoch, which lasted from about 56 to 34 million years ago, the area was covered in coniferous forests, including pine trees. When these forests eventually died, their resin was released, and over time turned into amber. Now let me ask you this. Would you consider amber a crystal, even though it's not technically a crystal? Well, if you say no, then I don't blame you. But this isn't the only example where something is not technically a crystal, but is still referred to as one. Take opal, for example. Opal is another amorphous solid. It doesn't have a defined crystal structure. But despite this, opal is often sold as a gemstone, and is even part of many jewelry collections. So even though we know that amber isn't technically a crystal, it's still important to learn about its physical and chemical properties, so that we can understand why it's so valuable. We will be doing a series of videos on the physical and chemical properties of minerals and rocks. If you're interested in learning more about how scientists study crystals, make sure to subscribe. Now back to amber. As I mentioned earlier, amber is formed when tree resin is exposed to air and sunlight. But not all resin turns into amber. It's thought that only the resin of certain types of trees, such as pine trees, spruce trees, and some types of palm trees, can turn into amber. This is because the resin of these trees contains special compounds that are necessary for the formation of amber. Amber is most commonly found in two colors, yellow and red. However, it can also be found in a variety of other colors, including orange, green, blue, gray, and even black. The color of amber is due to the presence of certain organic compounds. For example, dihydrobitic acid gives amber its characteristic yellow color, while succinic acid gives it a reddish hue. One of the most interesting things about amber is that it is often found with insects trapped inside. This is because when the resin of a tree first oozes out, it is sticky and viscous. This makes it the perfect trap for insects that get too close. Over time, the resin hardens and eventually turns into amber, preserving the insect inside. Amber with insects inside is extremely valuable. It's also very rare because the process of trapping an insect in amber must happen just right. First, the resin must catch the insect before it dies. Second, the resin must harden quickly enough to prevent the insect from escaping. And third, the insect must remain intact during the transformation from liquid to solid. When amber with insects inside is found, it's often referred to as copal. This term was coined by Rudolf Ela Fichtel and Gustav von Hayek in 1812. The word copal comes from the Latin word for resin, which is copa. The oldest known piece of copal dates back to the Eocene epoch, which lasted from about 56 to 34 million years ago. The most famous pieces of copal come from the Dominican Republic. The country is home to some of the largest and most well-preserved pieces of copal in the world. If you ever find a piece of copal, it's important to handle it with care. The insects inside are extremely fragile and can easily be damaged. The best way to look at the insects is to use a magnifying glass. If you want to see the insects up close, however, it's best to take it to a professional who has the equipment to safely extract the insects. Not only can amber be found with insects trapped inside, but it can also contain other objects, such as plant matter and even small stones. Amber with plant matter inside is often referred to as wood amber. This is because the plant matter often looks like wood when viewed under a microscope. Wood amber is especially prized by collectors because of its unique appearance. Amber with small stones inside is less common, but it's still prized by collectors. The stones often form unique shapes within the amber, making each piece truly one of a kind. We've talked about how amber is often found with insects trapped inside, but what about the insect's point of view? Do they really get trapped in amber, or do they somehow manage to escape? Well, the truth is that we don't really know. From their point of view, there's no way for us to know what it was like to be trapped in amber. However, we do know that insects have been trapped in amber for millions of years. This means that the event of being trapped in amber must not be that uncommon. Otherwise, we wouldn't see so many insects trapped in amber today. For the insects that do get trapped in amber, their chances of survival are slim. However, there have been a few lucky ones that have managed to escape. One of the most famous examples of an insect that escaped from amber is the Hodotermes mossambicus. This termite was trapped in a piece of amber that is now in the Natural History Museum in London. The termite was found in 1906 in Mozambique, hence its species name Mossambicus. The fact that this termite managed to escape from the amber is truly amazing. Termites are known for their ability to digest cellulose, which is the main component of wood. It's possible that the termite used its powerful mandibles to gnaw on the amber until it was able to escape. There is also a fossil record of beetles that have been found with their wings torn off. This suggests that they may have been trapped in amber and then freed themselves by chewing through the amber with their powerful mandibles. The study of amber has taught us a lot about the history of life on Earth. By studying the insects trapped inside, we have learned about the behavior and ecology of these insects. We have also learned about the environment in which they lived. By studying the pollen and spores trapped in amber, we have learned about the plants that were growing during the time that the amber formed. This has helped us to reconstruct the history of plant life on Earth. In addition to teaching us about the history of life on Earth, amber has also been used to date rocks. By studying the radioactive isotopes in amber, we have been able to determine the age of the amber. This has allowed us to date the rocks in which the amber is found. This has helped geologists to better understand the history of the Earth. Amber is a truly unique and fascinating material. Not only is it beautiful, but it has also taught us a lot about the history of life on Earth. If you ever get the chance to hold a piece of amber in your hand, I encourage you to do so. It's a truly amazing experience. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video.